Welcome back to the ADCC Update Show, the worst show on the internet where we talk about ADCC, and that's it, dude, so stop asking. But ADCC just went down, obviously a big weekend in Las Vegas, Nevada. We had 8 champions get crowned. I guess 8 champions get crowned, 2 of which ended up with double gold, but overall a big weekend. What'd you guys think of ADCC this year? And just opening thoughts on it as a whole.
Yeah, man, incredible event. Awesome to see that T-Mobile Arena just packed and buzzing. And then obviously a couple of huge stars coming out of this weekend. Really excited when we get to see guys put it together and like win, lose, or like get part of the way through. A lot of awesome kind of stars bringing their energy, bringing their brand out of ADCC.
For sure.
Crazy weekend in Vegas, of course. I'm feeling pretty wrecked right now. It feels like I was like a month in Vegas, to be honest, you know.
Spent a lifetime in Vegas.
It feels like it, man. I never want to go back, but no, absolutely, man. What a wild weekend. I couldn't have predicted it for sure. I think, you know, we had so many expectations, so many kind of storylines we were following. You know, and what some of the best parts about ADCC is just how unexpected it is, just how you can get brand new stars, just on a single match. You know, obviously Michael Pixley, Owen Jones, those guys I think really kind of cemented themselves as kind of big things to watch coming up. But you got to shout out Adele. Adele looked like a killer out there. So much fun to watch. And of course, Kayan proved that you know, he's you know, on top of the mountain right now. Just a crazy weekend. Can't believe we're here back in Austin, feeling it a little bit for sure. Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was fun though.
Yeah, no, obviously, like I've been to Vegas a bunch of times at this point. Vegas is a fun place to go and just get into tomfoolery. You know?
Yeah.
Just get the boys together and just freaking, you know, get in the mix, and, you know, there's some mischievous behavior afoot, you know.
Yeah.
But if you got to work in Vegas, it sucks, dude.
It's the worst
brutal.
place on earth to
Walking
work.
into the MGM Grand and spending 40 minutes getting to your room just so you can sit in a room with no desk or anything,
Yeah.
it's pretty brutal.
No water,
yeah.
like drinks or
Yeah, dude. So I don't recommend working from Vegas. And if you do, like, I don't know, maybe go outside of Vegas or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Find somewhere off the strip.
Yeah. But I feel like we got to start our conversation with Adele Fornarino.
Absolutely.
Adele had an incredible run. She started her event against Maisa Bastos and ended it in the finals against Bia Mesquita. You know,
Crazy.
thanks to the women's absolute division. Like that's just incredible to think about, you know. But obviously Adele came out of this 6 matches, 2 golds, you know, the absolute belt around her waist. Just an incredible run overall. What did you think about it?
That, by the way, makes Adele the lightest ever ADCC absolute champion.
Let's go, daddy.
There's never been a
daddy.
66.
Daddy energy, dude.
Daddy. energy. Let's
she
go.
absolutely killed it. She had a couple of really, really impressive submissions. Like she submitted Jasmine Rocha, she submitted Brianna St. Marie, she submitted Bia Basilio in the final.
Yeah, that one was
Rafaela
so sick.
Geddes, the plus 65 champion.
Yeah, and then obviously that match against Bia Mesquita. Mesquita is so good at just like, you know, kind of staying perfect and staying precise and not getting in any danger. And when Adele locked that triangle up, just this is my fight now. You're never leaving this triangle. It just looked, I mean, so she had the best in the world, both like of all time and also right now in her division, and she hit somehow all of them.
100%, dude. Just a little bit of a wild thing about her run was just like all the girls she had to face. Brianna St. Marie, like based on Instagram activities, like I think they're super close. You know what I mean? Like they're always like hanging out. They're like seem to be very close friends. So like brutal one to start the open with. And then after that, Rafaela Geddes, her teammate, she did her entire camp at Atos. Also the plus 65 kilogram champion, like Joe said. So it's kind of like, damn, what a gnarly run to have to go 2 people that you're pretty close with back to back, but also 2 of the best female grapplers in the world just to end it with the lady goat in the absolute final. So, I mean, nothing but respect to Adele for that. Just an incredible run. She almost seemed like she was just in this like euphoric state during it. Like it was just like she was floating along being like, I don't even know how I ended up here, but I guess I'll just keep winning, like, you know. But
yeah, I mean, Atos had an incredible run, but man, I'm just like so pumped on Adele. Obviously, she's kind of been on our radar for a little bit. We had her on Who's Number One not too long ago. But she just impressed so much. And that, I think it's like, man, for me, I mean, obviously there's some good submissions over the weekend, but definitely that mirror lock that she had over Bianca Basilio had to be kind of top 3, top 2 submissions of the entire tournament.
You're a sucker for a closed guard submission.
Dude, closed guard, right? Closed guard submissions are so sick. You don't see them too often these days, I feel like. So anytime you can hit a closed guard submission, that's I'm there for it for sure. But man, like, I love the daddy energy. She's a star. She had the crowd. She's Australian. She's funny. Like, just super high on Adele. I feel like she kind of really crowned herself as like the queen of women's jiu-jitsu over the weekend, and I don't think, a lot of people really expected it. So just super impressed with what she did for sure.
We're not the only people kind of heaping praise on Adele right now. After the tournament, I talked to Andre. There's an interview on the website for anybody who wants it. This is a quote from him that I wrote down. "I know she has the potential to be the greatest grappler in human history."
Whoa.
Wow. And that's coming from Andre Galvão,
Wow.
who is arguably the greatest grappler in human history. So, high praise.
I like that he threw in human history. Like we don't know about the dinosaurs just yet. They could have been pretty good.
Been pretty nice.
Gorillas are pretty good.
They're pretty good at grappling. Yeah.
But yeah, no, Adele's sick for sure. I had another point I was going to make, but I kind of forgot it there.
Yeah, I was just rambling about Adele.
That's a lot of what this post ADCC world feels like. It's just like kind of a whole lot of like, damn, like I swear there was some really cool shit. But
it's honestly like we were in the T-Mobile for like 4 days straight, so it's like it all kind of blurs together a little bit. It's like hard to kind of like remember some of the stuff exactly, but just the Atos celebration too on the mat, putting when Andre put Adele kind of on her shoulders and like the whole team. Happy for those guys.
Easier than when they lifted up Andre after 2019.
Yeah, true, I think Andre just picked her up with one hand and just it up. One of the cool aspects of our job is like obviously how in the moment we are in those big moments and stuff, but it's also that we kind of get to be in the corners a lot of time. A lot of times we're filming the person coaching in the corners. Australians, coolest people to film in the corner. Dude.
Yeah.
Australians, absolutely hilarious.
Josh Saunders' corner.
Yeah, Josh Saunders' corner, Isaac's corner.
Yeah.
But they just say phrases that I don't really know what they mean, but they make sense. Like at one point they were just yelling at Isaac. They're like, all right, Isaac. All right, smoke the gun here, mate. Smoke the gun. I'm like, I don't know what smoke the gun means, but it seems awesome, dude. Let's see
but this guy's screwed.
Yeah, let's see what Isaac does here, bro. He's about to smoke the gun on him, bro. So, yeah, Australians are sick to film in the corner, but I think we got to talk next about the second Atos athlete to double gold at this ADCC, Kayan Duarte. Kayan came out in his division all subs. Incredible, dude. I think out of his 8 matches, he obviously double gold, so 4 in his division, 4 in the absolute. 7 submissions, right? 7 of 8.
7 of 8. Like the only guy was Dante.
Dante Leon. Shout out Dante.
Yeah,
man.
dude, Dante
had a run.
Dog.
Dante had a run.
All-time dog.
But that's statistically the best run since Roger, right?
100%.
Roger in 2005 went 8 for 8 all submissions, and
so Roger kind of owes Dante like a steak
point.
dinner or something.
Yeah.
Like take
a night on the town.
Yeah, Roger needs to take Dante out. I feel like
True, but yeah, kind of just looked like an absolute beast. It was kind of, I feel like early on it was like, oh damn, kind of having a day. You know what I mean?
100%. I feel like it's even coming into that second day where Marigali was out of the bracket, you kind of looked at it and thought, Kayan had a really good chance. And then him in the absolute, he just kept that momentum going. He's such a momentum guy, right? When he gets even just a little bit of momentum, he's almost unstoppable.
For sure.
One of the biggest criticisms of Kayan, despite his 2 previous titles coming into this, is always like he doesn't finish guys, right? Like he's positionally perfect from his guard, wrestling on top. He's almost unbeatable when he's on his game, but he hasn't always had the best submission rate. He just completely stopped that point. Dead in his tracks, finished 4 guillotines, a couple arm bars, rear naked choke, and just said, if I want to submit everybody in my division, I can do it. If I want to submit 3 guys in the absolute, here you go.
I feel like did anybody else catch guillotines at ADCC this
I think
weekend?
it was just Kayan.
Right? Like
I
you don't see
remember,
too.
Wasn't a ton.
Yeah,
Rafaela got one too, also from
did she?
Matos. Yeah,
Okay.
against Kendall.
Yeah, the whole Atos room is super good at guillotines. Probably that hanger-tine and stuff.
He shouted out Josh Hinger after the
Yeah,
he was done.
Josh Hinger just upping everybody's guillotine game over to Atos. And no, one of the best parts about this whole kind of storyline coming in is that, like, obviously I think we all know that Kayan's capable of doing what he did. But, a lot of times he's kind of hot and cold a little bit, especially recently there. He had the loss to Marigalian, who's number one. He had the loss to the
beach wrestler.
Yeah, the Russian guy. Is
Off the top of my head.
the Russian guy there from Aiga, or
No.
not
He
yeah,
didn't
sorry.
lose to Ruslan. He lost to Luke, though.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so but just a lot of kind of ups and downs in his career, and he's getting a little older, and he's kind of already a 2-time ADCC champion. So it's kind of like how much, how hungry really is Kayan these days. It didn't seem like he's living in San Diego, living this little paradise life, 2-time ADCC champion. But man, dude came in hungry as ever and proved everybody wrong. He's still top of his game. Yeah, like I said, one of the most impressive performances in ADCC history. I'm a huge guillotine guy, so love seeing the guillotines. And just the nicest dude for real as well. Off the mats, one of the best guys to work with and to talk to. Give you all the time you need. So man, what an impressive performance from Kayan Duarte. Not too many people have done what he's done in the history of ADCC. So that puts him in kind of, an echelon all his own.
And at the end of the day, like he comes out of this a 4-time ADCC champ.
That's crazy.
And 4 seems to be the magic number for ADCC titles, right? Like once you hit 4, you are an all-time great. Like Marcelo, 4 titles. I think Arona, 4. Very few people have 4.
He's
That's crazy. He has as many as Marcelo. I never thought about it in those terms until just now. Yeah, and like Marcelo's like the man,
The legend.
for sure, dude. He's chasing the old professor now. He's chasing Andre. Andre has 6, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, Kayan 2026 is gonna have Gordon now in the super fight, which there's some ways the super fight could end up shaping up where it's pretty epic, but like this is I think one of the most epic ways it could shape up and could go down in 2026, Kayan versus Gordon. Because obviously, you go back to the Modolfo camp stuff. There's a long history there.
Rivalry,
but it's also a match where almost similar to Andre Gordon, where Andre pretty much told Gordon, like, no, bro, win the absolute. If you want to fight me, I'm not just going to give it to you. You got to win the absolute. You got to earn your shot at me. Gordon did it. Ended up beating Andre, became the new kingpin. Almost similar thing. Gordon said, no way, I'm not fighting Kayan. I don't want him to make money off of me. Well, Kayan earned it. Now Gordon has to fight him because, that's the beauty of kind of the super fight system at ADCC, which is obviously, like, I think one of the coolest things, going is how that super fight works. But yeah, Kayan punched his ticket. And it is kind of just like an awesome thing where it's like, damn, all these grapplers got little beefs and they don't want to fight this guy for this reason. And they have this long story thing. But it's like, dude, you come out, if you're a super fight champ, some guy wins the absolute. Well, put all that aside. You guys got to fight now. So ADCC 2026, I'm stoked for that one for sure.
Oh man,
already thinking about the next
ADCC
one, dude.
2026 sort of makes me feel like when I want to put a gun in my mouth.
Yeah,
but no, just kidding.
it's a lot of work. I don't, dude. I don't. Yeah, whatever. I was gonna say I don't think a lot of people realize how much work goes into this shit. But whatever.
I will say after Kayan in his interview said that he thinks if he faced Gordon this weekend, he would have won. Or he could have won, I think is exactly what it is. If Kayan faced Gordon, he thinks he could have won.
Yeah. He said, I believe if I faced Gordon this weekend, I would have won.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. And considering that, like, yeah, maybe Gordon didn't have, wasn't able to submit anybody. People are saying a little bit down with performance. I don't know. You guys' opinions on that? Gordon said it was down. And Kayan's performance was like way up here. Like there's some, there's reason for him to believe that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Gordon said right. We did a post-match or like a post kind of event interview with him, and he was basically like, "This was the weekend to beat me." Like these guys messed up because He said he was operating at like 30% of Gordon Ryan, so he's like, this is the weekend that these dudes should have beat me. And obviously he didn't go out. He didn't submit Felipe. He didn't submit Yuri. Him and Felipe had a really close match, 2-0, obviously, which is, whatever. I don't think the general public give Felipe enough credit. Gordon just now evened the score with Felipe. They're now 2-2. Like up to that point, Felipe had it over Gordon. And honestly, if you're 2-1 on someone, it's like you don't owe them a match, to be
100%.
honest. Like, I know Philippe's always down and Gordon wants it, and it's, you know, in reality the jiu-jitsu community does want that match. So it's like, luckily we're lucky enough for those guys to agree and let it happen. But like, Philippe's a G for just constantly accepting this and letting Gordon fight him, because it's like, he is up on the scorecard. Not a lot of people would be like, I'm 2-0 against you, bro.
Yeah.
What do we need a trilogy for? You know, so I think Philippe's a gangster, and obviously he showed that as well. Came out, won his division along the way. That was freaking
100%.
nuts, dude. Never won his division before. Won
Yes.
the absolute, not his division. So.
Yes, first division title. I think 3 out of 4 submissions, I think, is what he
Yeah,
had. If
it
I
was.
remember
Yeah, the only guy was
correctly.
Josh, was able to survive. Mm-hmm. To me, the story of Felipe, that it wasn't really like on the mats. It was, this guy was really injured. That first slam from Brandon Reed really messed up his back, and he was really struggling with that. And those were really long days for him. Like, the first day, he was the very first match. He was the very last match. And then he was the very first match the next day. It's a really tough schedule. And he said in his interview, he nearly pulled out of the final. They went to the back, and they were really seriously considering not even going out there for the final after the Josh Saunders match.
Yeah, pretty
And
nuts.
it was a tough final there too. You know, Luke is obviously up and comer, and he's a beast, and he had an incredible tournament, you know, as well. I think, and he was this close to catching Felipe's back. You know,
I
this
know.
close, and Felipe, is just so good at not letting those hooks in. And I think, you know, Luke might have just kind of, you know, blown his wad there, just trying to catch the back, and then just kind of didn't have much else. But that was an impressive final for Felipe, no doubt.
And stylistically too, I hadn't considered this before watching the match, but Luke, when he's, not every time he's done well, but most of the times that Luke does exceedingly well, he gets a submission in the first 5 minutes. Felipe Pena is a slow starter. He kind of burns real slow. So
true.
Luke kind of going out there and doing everything he can to take Felipe's back is kind of playing into Felipe's game, right? And Felipe just kind of waited it out, got back to his guard, got back to the feet, hit a beautiful double leg.
Bro,
Like,
that double.
I've never seen Felipe wrestle like that.
True.
And then got right to the back and did his magic.
That was that Atos training
I was
camp
gonna say the
double.
Atos, man, like nobody comes out of this looking better than that Atos training camp. Like, they just had so many impressive performances, to be honest.
Dude,
There was 10 available gold medals. They won 6 of them.
Holy
That's so
smokes,
nuts, bro.
Holy
Like,
smokes.
unreal.
That's crazy.
That's bonkers. The bear trap that Pregisa uses is so nuts, bro. Like, it's crazy. Like, not, I mean, it's just a crazy position overall.
Yeah, wow.
Looks like it's just tearing your knee as he has it, you know, just like a guard that's just like, oh, sick, I'm in this guy's freaking weird ass complex guard, and also my knee is torn now because because it's crazy. Like, I think if you got that on a random dude in the gym, he would just be like, nah, you just get me out. But his ability to just like hold Gordon with it, and like Gordon probably does have an answer. I don't know. Don't come after me, Gordon. But like, it doesn't appear on the competition match. It's like he always gets it on Gordon. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah,
like
he slows him
I
down
can't.
so much.
Like, it like confuses me how it's like, damn, bro, he always can get this.
Because he
shit
used it a
every
lot.
time.
He used it a lot in their Who's Number One match too, right? Like,
Yeah, 100%.
it was very, very similar almost to their Who's Number One match. And yeah, we were even messing around with the bear trap kind of a little bit backstage after the match, and I felt like it, and I could feel like my knee a little sore just messing around in the position, you know. And I was just like, dang, I can't imagine spending 10 minutes and having Felipe Pena kind of trying to get underhooks on me and
bro.
trying to, you know.
Oh, whenever he gets the underhooks, like almost like how you want with like butterfly
Body
guard,
lock,
you know, or like a body lock, and he still has the bear trap, and he's like freaking wrenching you all over.
Looks like
It's
a calf slicer.
Yeah, it's like, bro, hey man, tap. I don't know,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
Yeah, a lot of people just.
I just like watching it. I felt it in my knee.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like, oh, what a weird position. But he's so good at it, and you don't see a whole lot of other people use it. Although we did see somebody.
Dante
used it
was
against Giancarlo, which I was going to say I thought was very interesting. And then Giancarlo got stuck in there for a long time too. And these are obviously like world-class leg lockers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for it to be so effective is really meaningful.
This
sure.
is a PSA to anybody training over the next couple of weeks. Protect your knees. The bear trap is coming. Everybody's going to be studying it.
yeah.
Everybody's
If you're
gonna
paying
be looking at it.
attention,
Listen,
like
I'm going to be doing it.
Yeah.
You guys are going to train with me? I'm going to try it.
Yeah, and no, for sure. If like you were paying attention to these techniques at ADCC, bear trap was a sneaky one that like you got to kind of add to your game a little bit because it's looking pretty effective at the highest level.
I felt like this was the first time. Gordon is very obviously known for kind of like exhibitioning his current hottest instructional stuff in his matches, you know, like obviously if he's working triangles, he'll go out and do a triangle, whatever. This was the first time, right, that he really like showcased his backtracking. Like that's kind of like the newest, like I remember like the word camping came up and I was like, ooh, camping, what's camping all about? And, you know, you got that one Gordon super fan, watches every instructional guy in the gym who's like over in the corner talking to his posse being like, yeah, camping's blah, blah, you know, and so now.
Are you saying that because I'm over here in the corner?
But now it's backtracking. Backtracking is the new thing, right? So we saw when we were there at New Wave's camp in Vegas, Gordon got double underhooks on Davis and then like was in that quarter guard position, passed it, put his leg back, passed it. He did that like a bunch of times. I was like, man, something's weird here. What's Gordon doing? And then he did the same thing to Yuri. Got that same exact double underhooks position with like a quarter guard and kind of passed. Made it where Yuri then recollected the guard, and then he passed again. And he kind of explained it in the interview we did with him. That's like the backtracking thing. Marigali kind of talked about that on the watch party a little bit, that they've been doing that, where he, on his own terms, allows someone to kind of recollect the guard, so then he can pass them again, basically just to cook them, right? Like this is all something to cook somebody. So that was another little I guess, jiu-jitsu deep cut little thing that we saw on the ADCC stage, this backtracking.
Yeah, I feel like definitely, you know, New Wave always comes in, you know, John is always cooking up, you know, strategy and stuff in that training room. And I feel like they usually kind of really do a good job of kind of setting the tone for that like kind of new technique or new kind of thing that people are focusing on. You know, I feel like in 2019 it was wrestle ups, and 2022 it was like the kind of standing position uchimatas and stuff like that that they kind of really dominate the field with. And it feels like, you know, maybe we didn't see everybody in New Wave doing this, but it definitely felt like that it was a strategy from Gordon and Marigali, you know, to do this thing. And what was the score of the match? 21-0?
21-0, a new ADCC record in the super fight. The previous record was 12, which was set, of course, Gordon against Andre.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, this you know, definitely that they're always looking a way to kind of rack up points, and in ADCC, right? I think we're all in agreement. Like it's hard to score points sometimes. Sure. So when you can kind of find a way to kind of game the system a little bit, or you know, use your, you know, kind of mental IQ of ADCC rules, which everybody says all the time. If you want to, you know, win ADCC, if you want to kind of get better at this rule set, you really have to understand and study the rule set, and clearly they have. And, you know, yeah, so just overall, a really dominant performance against Yuri. Didn't get the submission, but got 21 points, you know, got the mount a couple times, had 3 or 4 submission attempts. So really dominant performance, to be honest. You know, it sounded like Yuri had a legit, maybe good ankle lock attack towards the very end.
I think he popped it, Gordon said.
Yeah, he did.
That's crazy.
he was like, I think Gordon said he was like, oh, I mean, you guys know how Gordon talks. Like he's like, oh, he doesn't have the braking mechanics. It's fine. And then he was like, and then he popped my shit, and I was like, God damn it! So now I just
got broken for nothing.
Yeah, I got broken for nothing. I think is what he said, right? But yeah, so, but yeah, obviously Yuri's he's there for a reason, you know. So like, gotta respect it a little bit. You guys want to talk about the 88? While we're on New Wave, the 88 kilogram champion Giancarlo,
two-time,
baby.
First ever back to back
at 88.
At 88.
Ever.
Yeah.
The only other two-timer is Saulo, who did it in 2000 and 2003. But there was another champion in the middle there.
Oh, okay, so first back-to-back.
He's the first back-to-back.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's so dialed in. He looks like could go be the 3-timer. You know, in 2026. He, I don't want to say like dominated the field, because he only had the one submission, and I know that he was talking about after, like, kind of bugged him, considering he had more submissions the previous time, but. Man, he just looked incredible. He looked awesome in the final. That finals match with J-Rod was one of the best matches of the entire tournament.
True.
He looked super on point.
I think a little bit of that, like, you know, not getting as many submissions as he did in the previous edition is he's the returning champion, right? Yeah. Like, people give him so much respect now in that match. Like, you're trying so hard as somebody facing Giancarlo Bodoni just not to make an error. And, like, Felipe Costa gave him a real test. Gabriel Almeida gave him a real test. Like, these guys were coming after him, but of course with the respect. Like, this guy can ruin my day at any time.
100%.
That like element of surprise is such a big thing in ADCC. You know, obviously you saw it with Pixley and Marigali, and you kind of see where these guys just surprise guys, you know. And I think maybe Giancarlo had a little element of that in 2022, where he really just surprised everybody, where nobody really in the field, anybody really knew that he was that good. And so obviously this time around he had that target on his back, he had that pressure. I talked a little bit about with him, just kind of him and John kind of leading up to it, just dealing with that pressure, dealing with that target on his back. And didn't get the submissions, but definitely I thought he had some dominant performances. Even in the J-Rod match, you know, he was able to kind of separate himself later in the match. So yeah, man, Giancarlo, I feel like just from 5 years ago, from 4 years ago, just looks like a completely different grappler. And to see him kind of like mature and grow up a little bit on the ADCC mats and become this like dominant champion now.
Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, absolutely. Future Hall of Famer. Like it's just that's kind of one of the funnest parts about ADCC, I think. And yeah.
And he wasn't done at 88 either. He gave a real good run in the absolute. You know, he had who was his first round match? It was a tough one.
It was Diego Pato. Yeah,
Pato had
Kayan had Pato.
So it was.
Kayan had Pato. Somebody else big had Diogo.
Declan had Diogo.
He had Damon Ramos and then
Davi
Ramos.
Davi, yeah.
Wagner Hocha.
Davi has the first round in the absolutes.
That's right.
Yeah, it's not super.
Davi lost to two.
Not a handout.
Two new wave guys at ADCC, Oliver and Giancarlo. So that was rough for him, but.
There were only, Reed, you mentioned like how tough it is to score under ADCC rules. There were 2 matches where both people scored a point, at least 1 point.
What do you mean, sorry?
There were 2 matches where both people were able to score.
Both competitors
okay.
in the match.
In the entire ADCC?
In the entire tournament.
Got it.
Where were they?
They were the final of Mica versus Wagner, which was 6-2, and Felipe Pena, Brandon Reed.
Yeah.
Wow.
13-2.
Brandon on that slam scored 2.
No way. That is wild.
That's
Crazy,
That's a
right?
wild
Those are the
stat.
only 2 matches where both people were able to score points.
Wow.
That's pretty incredible.
So that says a lot. Like, if you score at ADCC, super solid chance you're winning that match.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a real good stat for if you're trying to kind of win ADCC or get better at ADCC. If you score points, like there's a good chance you're going to win. Wow.
I know we have other champions, you know, other big stories to talk about, but since we were talking about Giancarlo, might as well talk a little bit about J-Rod also. You know, J-Rod made it to the finals against Giancarlo. There was a few finals, maybe a few, I don't know, finals where 2 dudes were on a collision course to get there, and then it was like, holy shit, who knows now how this is going to go, you know? Like Pato Diogo was another big one that I was thinking, like, oh my God, both these dudes are looking good as hell right now. Like, who knows what's going to happen. But obviously, J-Rod had a sick tournament. Coming away with ADCC silver is a huge accomplishment, obviously. So we know he'll be back next time, you know, that silver. At least we hope he'll be back and everything. But, yeah, he had a sick run overall. Just J-Rod's like a best match machine, you know? Sick match with Giancarlo, sick match with Achilles Rocha.
That Giancarlo match, just what a match. I mean, that could be, for me, match of the year. It just... J-Rod just doesn't stop moving. It looked a lot like, you remember the Who's Number One match a couple years ago? Mm-hmm. It looked a lot like that match had matured.
It was the Who's Number One match, right? Didn't Giancarlo have his back for like a really long time? Yeah. And then Jay finally got out and he was like, all right, now I'm going nuts, dude.
And so this was kind of the opposite, right? Like J-Rod was putting the pace on for like 5-10 minutes.
The first 10 minutes were like the whole no points. I felt like, and the whole no points I thought was Jay, and then right when they called points, he had a near pass right into north-south, right? He just shot. He does such a good job of just sending that knee slice so hard to north-south every single time.
But it's funny because like we get to the 8-minute mark or so, and like we're counting down to 10, and you hear Nicky Rod in the corner just go, all right, Jay, 2 more minutes, and we're going to turn the pace up. You can turn the pace up from this? He hasn't stopped moving for 10 minutes. What do you mean?
No, that's chill J-Rod, dude. We're about to smoke the gun on him.
No, I love the way J-Rod just like jumps past people's guards. Like, he'll just like leap past and he's just in north-south. Like he's just so lightning quick. Yeah, and obviously we were just talking about how Giancarlo is one of the best in the world, you know, hands down. And Jay just could kind of leap past and just get north-south. I feel like he did at least 2 or 3 times. You can see another guy who we've really watched kind of like grow up in front of our eyes a little bit and on these kind of ADCC mats. from what he did, a couple years ago at the ADCC trials. He was so surprised to be here, or so surprised to win, and it felt like anyway in that moment. But now you can feel he's mature. He's focused. He's locked in. He's got the cornrows. So he's
got a big factor.
He's feeling it. Like he was trying to be the first guy to win it with cornrows, I believe.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Well, first guy since Yuri.
True.
No. Kidding.
Yeah. No, I've always thought about going the cornrows look. I thought cornrows would be sick. Or more so than that, I thought it'd be cool to go white guy with dreads look. See if I could pull that off for a bit. But
we haven't seen that at ADCC yet. So
true. So I could only 26, dude. I don't know. How old some of these? Who's the oldest champion?
Yeah, 40.
Wagner. I got plenty of time. Never mind.
Yeah, Wagner and Lovato. We got some time.
Yeah.
This was like an ADCC where some of the older guys really did do well, right? Cyborg, Lovato, Wagner. Seeing Wagner in the middle of T-Mobile, everybody chanting his name after the absolute because he's coming out there as a 42-year-old guy, a father of two people in the tournament, still, in the finals, kicking butt. Yeah, that was really, really that was one of my favorite moments of seeing him kind of take in that moment and that appreciation that the crowd was showing him.
All three of the oldest guys in the tournament made the finals.
Wow,
that's crazy.
That's pretty
Three
nuts.
silver medals.
Yeah,
dude, you can see the history of jiu-jitsu etched into Wagner's face. You look close enough.
Yeah.
Hieroglyphics. And,
I mean, this guy's just been a lifetime of combat sports.
Head first combat style.
Still in it. It's incredible, bro. Yeah. But so obviously there's some really big stories we have to get to. So I guess where do you guys want to go next? You want to talk about Diogo going back to back? You want to talk about Pixley? You want to talk about
we should talk
Owen
about
Jones?
Pixley. I think that was the biggest moment. Maybe not the biggest moment, but like maybe the biggest moment. That was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Pixley coming out as, obviously an underdog.
Yeah.
Like
a purple belt.
Right. It's like
20 to 1,
take what
50
you
to
know
1.
personally about Pixley aside, whatever, you know what I mean? That you train with him, that you know him, all that. And those people knew he was a dog. But like in just like a betting sense, he was a obviously major underdog. Came out, submitted Trator first round, and then it was just right to Marigali, right? Him versus Marigali, second match of day one. Mm-hmm. Pixley comes out and just starts bringing it to Marigali. Pixley's a mean dude, bro. Yeah. Like, I feel like that's just such a factor that people don't always think about, or like, jiu-jitsu's it's not as mean of a sport, Obviously, there are people who do it mean, like Wagner and like whatever, but Pato, yeah. But Pixley's just a mean dude. Like, he wants to like throw your face into the mat. He wants to like hurt you when he's doing it. And he just came out with that energy and ended up submitting Marigali. Obviously, Marigali pretty injured at this point. Like, talked to him afterwards. He was pretty messed up, But
super nice guy, But but the last guy you want to grapple. We've trained a couple times at Daisy Fresh, and ducking that dude hard in
100%.
In the Daisy Fresh room, not want nothing to do with training with him.
I didn't have a chance a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We did a Fix My Game with Pixley, and I was doing a Fix My Game with Couch first, and Pixley's just pacing around, foaming at the mouth, like, bro, I'm 50 pounds lighter than you. You are a professional athlete.
He's just pacing on the side of the mouth, just going, man, when do I get to beat Corey's ass, bro? Come on, dude. Couch is having all the fun.
He foot swept me to the mat until he got bored. Then he started uchimadeing me until he got bored. Then he started knee cut darsing me until he got bored, and then we were done.
And that was in the span of 30 seconds.
Yeah.
45 seconds.
He has a short attention span, so he gets bored quick, bro. Yeah.
No, man. Just I've been to many ADCCs at this point, and I've been there for some big moments. I feel like over the years, and I feel like this was kind of the top moment I've really ever seen at ADCC. I don't think anybody was more of a favorite to win the division more than the Marigali was. So confident going in, of course, and one of the most impressive parts I thought was that Pixley just looked like he belonged out there.
It wasn't just one moment.
Yeah,
right?
And from the moment he stepped out on the mat, like it wasn't even just like after the match he was confident. No, it was like the moment he stepped out on the mat, he looked like he belonged there. He looked like he belonged against a another greatest of all time kind of candidate in Nicholas Marigali, a multiple time IBJJF world champion. One of the other scariest guys kind of in jiu-jitsu, a guy who can kind of really put your lights out as well. And I feel like Pixley just didn't see it from that perspective. It just said I'm the hunter here. Was throwing Nicholas around early. Had some incredible kind of throws, and I think Marigali kind of played into it a little bit there, and unfortunately it was just a furious explosion of energy, and Marigali posted out, got hurt, kind of, I believe it popped his shoulder out there, and Pixley just jumped on the Darce. Crazy moment. Obviously, the Daisy Fresh crew is no stranger to these underdog moments. They kill it with these underdog moments, man. And the way the crowd erupted, the way Spatch and Heath and Couch, they all just grabbed a camera and started shouting into it. And, Pixley put on the crown. It was one of the craziest moments I've ever seen in jiu-jitsu for sure. So, shout out to Pixley and the Daisy Fresh crew. They made it happen from the moment, and sorry I'm rambling, but from the moment that they started the tournament, Pixley said, who's the fucking toughest guy here? That's all I care about is fighting the toughest guy here. Who's the toughest guy here, Well, and he fought him.
And he, just to place it in context, he had probably the toughest route to the final. He had silver medalist Trator in his first match, bronze and silver medalist Nicholas Marigali in his second match, and then multiple-time medalist Rafael Lovato in his third match, and that one went to decision.
And then ADCC absolute champion in the third place match.
Right,
so.
right.
I think that goes a lot to, you're talking about Pixley just kind of shows up and says, who's the toughest guy? I want to fight him. He really, he's not a student of the sport in the way where he's, watching a ton of matches and, breaking this stuff down. He just, loves to scrap. And I think
he might be. I don't know. He's pretty on it with those guys.
No, but I'm saying Heath was, but
Gotcha.
Pixley, himself, is more just focused on himself, and that's kind of credit to Heath, who talked about after, making sure that in the training he was helping give Pixley the tools that were going to be able to show up in the Marigali match, because Marigali is going to be such a big dog in the division. And the Daisy Fresh guys showed out with that, with Dante beating the 77 and 88 champion in the absolute.
Dante
totally
nuts run, dude. Tapped
nuts.
Mica? That's crazy, bro.
He's been looking for that. He's been looking for that for a long time.
Dude, obviously Dante has a history with Mica. 2 losses, 2 controversial losses.
Yeah,
honestly, you can't,
100%.
no way around it.
100%.
A couple losses where it was if it went the other way, I don't think anybody would be, everyone would be okay, yeah, makes sense, So for him to come back and be bro, I'm done with this shit. I'm done with losing controversially to
90
Mica
seconds.
and to tap him.
Really?
That's nuts, bro. That's pretty bonkers. So Dante, pretty incredible run, came back 3rd place in the absolute. This dude, Dante's just a beast, bro. It's he got in the division, and he was nah, that's not the end of my story here.
You know what? It's a lot like the Ty Ruotolo run in 2022.
Yep.
Right? Get lost in the first round and said, yeah, all right, I'm hungry now. I'm ready to go now. Came back and beat the 77 champ, a guy who's had a long history with, and decisively, and then punched his way through to 3rd.
For sure. Okay, what else we got to talk about? I guess
Let's talk Diogo.
Yeah, so Diogo ended up meeting Pato in the finals in a pretty wild match.
Honestly, one of my favorite ADCC finals ever. It really is.
sure.
I watched it back. Both guys have their moments, back and forth. Diogo smashing through to get that submission. It was insane. That was a great match.
Yeah, Pato came out and pulled right away, got the negative, and then kind of just started bringing it to Diogo. So it was because of the no points period, but also negatives for guard pulling. There was a moment where Pato was past his guard, mounted him for a split second, and still losing because he had a negative, and Diogo didn't. And Diogo weathered that storm, came back, then he started bringing it to Pato, ended up getting the submission arm triangle. That was just a nuts one. But both those dudes just sick runs all the way through the tournament.
Yeah, Pato, we previewed this a lot coming in, but just one of the meanest leg lockers in jiu-jitsu,
sure.
and definitely did some damage to some people. And he looked like he was coming over Diogo, looking to take something home with him, right? Every one of those heel hook attempts ran furiously out of bounds because Diogo had to roll or get broken. And then Diogo just that one moment where Pato kind of like relaxed a little too much. The body lock passes back.
Yeah,
he got that body lock, hopped over, and went immediately to the arm triangle.
For sure.
Pato gave me I thought it was the funniest quote I heard all weekend.
It's the coldest quote.
It is. It was after the Owen Jones semifinal where he popped Owen's stuff pretty bad. Owen wasn't able to do the third place match. I asked him about the submission. He said, that's the Pato lock. I said, what's a Pato lock? He said, it's a straight ankle lock. I asked him, well, what makes it a Pato lock? He said, when it breaks.
Yeah. That's pretty hardcore,
dirty,
bro. Ice cold,
dude. No, and then just it's ice cold, fucking dirty. That he just walked out in the ADCC finals and pulled guard and said, "I don't care about points. I'm submitting you." Like that's what Pato said when he just sat down. Like he's just like, "I don't care about negatives or points or anything like that. I'm here to submit you, Diogo." And it was just like, holy shit. And then he was like, yeah, he mounted him and he was like on the leg locks and stuff. And it was like, oh shit, he is gonna submit him. Like he is gonna do it again. You know, like Pato's just big dogging everybody. And that's why I feel like it was just so impressive that Baby Shark knew. Baby Shark knew that Pato was tough and that he was going to have to dig deep and he was going to have to weather the storm and he was going to have to come back late. And, that's exactly what he did. We were in Melky's corner and there was a couple times where Melky would scream Diogo and he would kind of like say, play smart, like you know what you're doing. And yeah, it just crazy that just such an interesting dynamic to that match because they have kind of fought each other a few times now, and it's a little bit back and forth. So much on the line. They're both Manawaras. Yeah, both Manawaras. So there's
Pato trained at Nabil Jiu-Jitsu, which is the same place Melky got his black belt from. So they're not just from Manaus; they're from the same neighborhood. I don't know if Pato might be from the neighborhood Cidade Nova. I'm pretty sure he is. I think he is. There's literally a neighborhood, just a few blocks, called Cidade Nova in Manaus, and that's where those guys are like. The best jiu-jitsu doesn't just come from Manaus. It comes from Cidade Nova, like our block. And Nabil BJJ is kind of the gym right there, and that's Pato. Whenever we were with him, he sends all of his gis. Because obviously these dudes have 1,000 gis from their sponsors. He wears them, he said, for a little bit, and then he'll just send 40 gis back to Nabil BJJ. But that's the same place Melky got his black belt from. So yeah, these dudes know each other.
Been building for 20 years.
Yeah,
been building
their
for
whole
20
life.
years. Yeah, they probably trained together a bunch. Man, what a history to that match.
And now 1-1.
Yeah.
We need to see the rubber match.
That's what I was gonna say. In recent history, Pato took the WNO strap off of Baby Shark.
Put him out.
Submitted him. And injured him. Yeah, injured him. Diogo had to go back to the drawing board and stuff. But I will say Diogo Melky's doing a great job of building the right mindset in these guys, especially Diogo, Mica, all these dudes. Because I remember I was talking to Diogo about it and stuff, and he was in his funny voice, he was it's all right, it's whatever. A champion you're not a champion because, should I do the voice? I'm over here contemplating.
Yeah, do the voice.
Yeah. He was like, hey, it's all right, boss. Sometimes a champion wins a belt, but a real champion is somebody who can lose and come back as a real champion, and that's what I am. So that's what Diogo was saying about being a champion. I hope Diogo doesn't beat me up now. Hearing my Diogo impression.
And hopefully you guys have heard Diogo talk before.
Yeah, if you haven't heard Diogo talk, it's gonna be awkward. But yeah, Diogo has a real funny voice. So if you haven't heard him talk, go listen to Diogo talk.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what he said. He was winning a championship is whatever, but to be a champion, you have to actually go through adversity, be able to come back. That's what really makes you a champion. And he did it. He came back, submitted Pato. So Pato submits Diogo. Diogo submits Pato. I hope we get Diogo Pato 3 soon enough, bro. That's a sick one.
2026 ADCC.
Yeah, there we go. But has there ever been a 3-time 66 kilo champ? I know there's been a bunch of 2-time.
Cobrinha won it 3 times, so
Wow.
he is trying to chase Cobrinha. He now has, at the same age, him and Rafa Mendes had 2 titles.
Nuts.
So that kind of puts into maybe some historical perspective, how special this run actually is from Diogo, that he just kind of copied what Rafa Mendes did, which is nuts.
Because we're on Cobrinha and ADCC history, I think it's time to switch over to...
Just real quick, can I just say this? We were talking about how much Diogo has evolved. Those arm triangles, he's hitting different variations, different positions, but those arm triangles from Diogo are becoming like a real elite world-class thing that people need to start watching out for.
For sure.
Absolutely. Mica Galvão, now one of 2 people in the history of jiu-jitsu to complete the Super Grand Slam. That's Euros, Pans, Brasileiros, Worlds, and then ADCC all in the same calendar year.
In 9 months, not even 12 months, 9 months, 8 months.
That's nuts, dude. It's crazy how Mica went from like, I don't even know, I might just do only no-gi in 2024, just, really lock in on the winning the ADCC title.
And then come January, good old Kings calls him up and says, you know what, do Euros.
Yeah, Bruno's like, I don't know, man, maybe just it'd be nice to have someone out there rocking a Kings gi. And he's like, screw it, okay, I'll win the Super Grand Slam. Just 0 to 100 real quick for Mica there, but dude, Mica, I mean, I don't know. You think Mika's the front runner right now for Grappler of the Year?
So I guess here's my question: is at the beginning of the year, Mica told us like, I want to have the kind of year that people talk about for the next 100 years.
Yeah.
Has he done it?
I mean, if you win a Super Grand Slam, right?
It's
only Cobrinha.
Yeah.
Like
youngest to ever do it. You know what I mean? Because Cobrinha, he was kind of doing it to end his career as like a capstone, as like a going away almost in a lot of ways. Mika's doing it to show up. This is Mica announcing like, this is the level I am at, and you guys are all chasing me.
What all outside of ADCC and the IBJJF majors, like he's had a bunch of WNO matches, right? Also,
he had a couple this year. Yeah, he had. It's tough to place the timeline right now.
I can't remember. Was Kenta versus?
I don't think he was on WNO this year yet.
In 2024,
was it Kenta this year?
Oh, maybe it was.
When was Cody Steele? That was 2023.
Yeah,
that might have been the end of last year. Yeah.
Okay. Who knows, dude?
It's like
time is a flat circle in the jiu-jitsu world.
Could have been a month ago. Could have been 10 years ago. It's like it's hard to remember right now.
Yeah,
we literally just got off the plane from Vegas.
Kenta was this year.
Gotcha.
Kenta was February. That was the last one he did. He also main evented BJJ Stars and won there against Davi Ramos. Is obviously super, super tough. That was the extent of his 2020.
Yeah, time will tell, certainly, but Mica Galvão, we're lucky to have him in the sport of jiu-jitsu for sure. Just an incredible talent. Watching him, take people's back. Obviously had the controversial match or kind of a really close match with PJ, but still an incredible match. And when he needed, to get it done, in those last like 15 seconds, when he needed something to make it happen, Mica made it happen, and I think that's like Mika's MO a little bit. It's like when he needs to make it happen, when the pressure is on, when the target's on his back, he couldn't come out of ADCC with 2 silver medals. That would have been really, really detrimental, I think, to the Mica brand, and just he's a winner, man. He's a champion, and he doesn't accept anything less, obviously. So for him to come out with 2, if he were to come out with 2 silver medals, it would have been devastating. A lot of pressure. And a lot of people wanted to take him out, and he made it happen in all those matches, and even against Wagner. Wagner is a savvy veteran who will get in your head, especially these young guys. He's so good. You saw him do it to guys like Luke and a bunch of others. He gets in these people's heads.
Mica was fight sports too, so Wagner knows him. At least to some extent. I know it's like kind of these dudes are in Manaus, fight sports, whatever.
Honestly,
but at least to some degree,
Wagner helped coach him.
Wagner knows him, bro, and it's like when you have someone like Wagner, just a master of the mind games of competition, like. And if he knows you and he knows some shit about every now and then might see you crack in the training room, when you're having a bad day, it's like, oh shit, that's kind of scary for Wagner to have any sort of intel. So
I was thinking a little bit about like watching the Wagner match. We were here with, I think it was Luke, right? And Luke was talking about like he knows the tells for when everybody gets tired, and they study a lot about that. Wagner has a certain thing too. He knows what's gonna crack every person.
Yeah,
right?
what's gonna make you mad.
If he wants to, he can have a match and like, all right, you crack if I hit you in the head a couple times or bully you, and like you crack if I do this, you crack if I do that. From my understanding was his read on Mica is, if I say he's running away, that's gonna make him furious. So every time they're in out of bounds, he's doing this, and if you're Mica, that makes sense, right? Mika's a killer. Mika doesn't want to be perceived as running away, so he just knows the little thing that's gonna get you.
That's true, dude.
No, honestly, like when we were watching it live, and Wagner came out and hugged Mica, and I was like, okay, that's Wagner's game. This is Wagner starting the match before the match starts.
Trying to get him friendly.
100%.
Keep your friends closer and your enemies closer.
Exactly. And then he was doing they were talking in the middle of the match, and he was chirping out of bounds and stuff like that. And he was just like, man, this is exactly what Wagner wants to do. This is Wagner playing exactly the game he wants to play here. You know, it was like, what's going to happen? And obviously, you know, Mica showed just what a talent he is and was able to take Wagner's back and submit him. And you don't see many people, you know, besides Gordon Ryan submitting Wagner Hosha. You know, obviously there's a couple others, but so super impressive performance there for him to go out and put a stamp on his ADCC title with a submission win in the finals. And then one of the biggest moments I actually thought over the weekend, one of the biggest non-jiu-jitsu moments there was when his Olympic gold medalist, you know, fiance, girlfriend, walked out onto the mat, and they had a little moment, you know, and I thought that was really, really incredible. What a power couple there for the two of them, both in basically like back-to-back weekends, winning the biggest tournaments in their sport. So pretty incredible.
Super nuts, dude. Yeah. Good for them.
Great moment for kind of the collective grappling sports too.
Yeah.
Certainly. All right, so another big story I think we got to talk about is Owen Jones.
Oh, yeah.
All right, dude, this podcast...
Man's game.
Yeah, it's a man's game, bro. This podcast, we're probably the biggest Owen Jones fans on the planet, to be honest. When it comes
now that he competed in a Ray Lewis,
yeah,
I'm the biggest Owen Jones fan in the world.
I know, it's true.
I'm gonna put a photo of him up in my room.
I know, this dude's from the UK. He's got a Ray Lewis rash guard on.
Yeah.
What? That's so fucking badass,
dude. But yeah, I mean, bro, I feel like this podcast was almost
all-time
started.
fit, by the way.
This podcast was almost started to talk about Owen Jones's Euro Trials run. You guys remember that? That's how the origins of this podcast kind of came
Episode
to be.
1.
Yeah.
Episode 1, we talked all about Owen Jones.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, dude. We literally recapped Euro Trials because it was like, that was sick. We should just come in and talk about that. We sat on some couches and talked about Owen Jones.
Yeah.
So, you know, what better way to come full circle and go from episode 1 to episode 21, potentially our last episode, I guess, you know, maybe until next year or whatever, and talk about Owen Jones. Owen Jones, just an absolute stud, dude. Like, the people who knew that he was electric on and off the mats. That's what's sick about Owen. But for him to come out round 1 and not just like submit Gabriel Souza, ADCC silver medalist Gabriel Souza, but to call for the match, this Gabriel was the guy that he said, I want Gabriel. I hope they give me Gabriel. Yeah. He got him, and then he did it. He said what he was going to do. He said what he was going to do, and he submitted Gabriel Souza with that little overhook armbar. You know, that thing is sick in itself. But and then who did he have second round?
Airbag.
Yeah. Submit it. And then again, he said, you know, backstage where he's all hyped up, the boys are yelling, all these Englishmen yelling stuff at me that I can't quite understand, but it's awesome and I support it, you know. And I'm just like, you know, how you feel about Airbag? And he said, man, just like everybody, you know, Airbag's awesome, but I'm going to tap him too. Comes out, taps Airbag, bro. So Owen Jones, just incredible run. Obviously, he ran into Pato, which, you know,
he got Pato locked.
Yeah, he got Pato locked. He told us a long time ago that like Pato was the one dude in the division that he was like, everybody else I'll smoke. Pato's a little iffy. He came back and he was confident, but still, it was Pato's day right there. But Owen Jones just an electric dude, bro. A great dude 100%. To see compete. A guy that we're lucky this sport has, if I'm being honest.
And I think for that reason, I mean, we're lucky because of things like this, right? Owen's energy brings the energy out of his opponent.
Yeah.
Like, if Owen doesn't have that kind of bravado and just like that, I'm going to come in and beat all these guys and submit all these guys, does Pato get up with the energy he got up with after he submits
Does he
Owen?
hit the crotch chop?
That's what I'm saying.
Bro, we had a DX chop at ADCC.
Yeah.
I mean, that was nuts, dude.
By the way, no way Pato knows who DX is either.
I don't know. He
Training
might.
down into
coach him up.
Yeah, he
coach him
might.
up.
But yeah, dude, freaking got the Pato lock on Owen and then just gave it to him, bro. That was nuts. But yeah, Owen he came out, he was backstage and he was just so amped up, you know, he's dialed in, just doing all this stuff. His hands getting all wild, looked like he lost control of them, kept saying it's a man's game. It's a man's game, you know? So I mean, that was sick.
Yeah,
it was dope to watch
Owen was the man.
Yeah, no. Definitely pretty sick that like ADCC was just like, okay, like if you want Gabriel Souza, like I guess
your old coach.
we'll give you Gabriel Souza, dude. Like good luck, you know.
Yeah.
And then just came out there, did the damn thing, and then Airbag, obviously,
30 seconds. Airbag.
I think a lot of people were spooked about Airbag, you know, just because his wrestling pedigree and
beating Dorian first round.
Yeah, beating Dorian. So for him to be so confident going against Airbag as well. And I think Pato's probably been doing jiu-jitsu for 10 years longer than Owen Jones, to be honest. I think Owen said that he kind of started around like 16-ish or something like that, like
Maybe.
at that point, I can't quite remember, but at that point
He's not a black belt yet, so it's like
true. So yeah, and like when Diego Pato was 16, he had black belt level jiu-jitsu for sure, and that's when Owen was just starting. So that's a rivalry for years and years to come. I think Owen will rise to the occasion there, and we'll see a closer match next time, or who knows. But I think that's a fun rivalry that the two of them can have kind of for years to come. To be honest, I don't think Owen is done fighting Pato by any means, and one of the funnest dudes to watch. And yeah, you don't have to win ADCC, right? The Eddie Bravos, the Craig Joneses, there's a bunch of guys, the Haisam Ritas and stuff like that, who have made a name for themselves on just winning one match and just having one exciting match. And that's exactly, and Owen had two exciting matches, two incredible matches, and just the energy he brought, I felt that it brought the entire arena up, to be honest. Every time Owen was out there, he was running back and forth, jumping back and forth. You could see the intensity in his eyes, and that just helps the tournament. That helps everybody get in the zone. So excited to see what the future has in store for Owen Jones. It's certainly bright.
I know we're not done talking about like the ADCC World Championships yet, right? They'll probably take months and months for us to hash out all of what happened, but I'm really kind of amped for the future of the sport based on one other kind of gift that ADCC gave us with the Youth World Championships.
I was going to bring up Daniel 220 and Icaro. Let's get into Daniel 220.
The real rivalry of the weekend. Daniel 220 and Icaro.
Yeah.
Bro, Bouchecha brought it up in his interview.
What a match, dude. Like just watching, like as all the fans kind of in attendance and on social media got amped up for two 12-year-old just stud grapplers.
Yeah.
Who have better jiu-jitsu than probably everybody.
I feel like most people kind of don't know what we're talking about, but
All right, so let's set the stage for everybody.
No, they do.
They got the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you guys know how old Icaro and
I think they're 12-ish.
They're 12?
Around 12.
12-ish? I always say
6
8.
years old? I don't know.
Yeah, I never know. I will say, put my arm on them. They feel like concrete. What's
It
up
was
with
the
these freaking kids?
40-kilogram division.
Okay, 40-kilogram, 12-year-old division. All right? T-Mobile Arena. We're there. It's the big stage, baby, the big show. But before we get into that, let's rewind a little bit and go backwards. Icaro and Daniel 220 are two Brazilian kids, one of which lives and trains at AOJ, and that's Icaro. You see him with Tynan a lot. You see him in a lot of our all accesses, and Road to Worlds.
Every single AOJ
Yeah.
person
one of the most
calls him their
professional
son.
grapplers in the sport.
It's
Somehow
insane.
Pato's son, Tynan's son, Cole's son, Jonathan's son.
Hoffa's son. But he over 100,000 Instagram followers. He's sponsored by Kings, all these places. At IBJJF Worlds, Icaro came up to us and was like, yeah, you guys want some Kings gear? Yeah, come with me to the booth. I'll give you anything you want. And he just walks up and he's like, yeah, just grab whatever you want. So it's on me, I'll take care of it. And so I just grabbed a King's hat or something, So Icaro's the man, obviously. And then on the flip side, there's Daniel 220. Daniel 220 is, they're both Brazilian, but Daniel 220 is the still living in Brazil version of Icaro, kind of dominating the Brazilian scene.
The Kleber Lang to his Rocky.
Yeah, both of which very Mica Ruotolos-esque, honestly.
Yeah.
Kind of back whenever they were kids coming up. So Daniel 220 dominating things down there. Now there's one specific thing that really drives this rivalry home. Icaro has a claim, I think that he hasn't been scored on since he was 6 or it's some crazy stat like that. Whenever you're just a jiu-jitsu child prodigy, you have these insane stats. Whenever I was 6, I had never I don't know if I'd done anything yet.
You'd also never been scored on.
I didn't walk or talk until I was 6, so I was underdeveloped. but I think that's what he said. And so when we arrive in Brazil, Daniel 220 couldn't even speak English, and he just walks up to me and goes, "Me, Icaro," and he shows me a video, and it's him scoring on Icaro, and he's pissed that I don't even know how he knew that Icaro said this, but he's pissed about it. So that was when he was
pissed that we were pumping Icaro.
Yeah, 100%.
We've been pumping Icaro a little bit.
Yeah,
he was pissed we were pumping him.
He was like, nah, Daniel 220. I think his real name's Daniel Galvão, but
Daniel 220 is a sick.
It's just a sick
nickname.
Yeah,
it's honestly top 5 nickname in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
Especially when you weigh 40 kilograms.
Yeah, thing called yeah. Daniel 220 is so epic. But these dudes, same division, ADCC Youth Championship. They both come out. Daniel 220, immediate submission. His first round, just gets the job done. Icaro had this tall, lanky kid. This kid was really good, and it was a longer, harder match. It was a great 12-year-old 40-kilogram match, dude. You can't argue with that.
We're really getting into this bracket.
Yeah, I know.
What a stacked bracket.
We'll break down of the bracket.
And then these two met in the final, and that's what the jiu-jitsu world was really looking for. I was saying, Mo, hold off on it. Don't run it yet. Run it Sunday night. Make it the main event. Daniel 220 Icaro, dude. This has got a main event ADCC. But, of course, Mo, he didn't listen to me, and he ran it that night. But it was incredible. Icaro, Daniel 220. Daniel ended up winning. Did he submit him?
No, he didn't submit him. He won on
submission?
points. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
But
9-0, something like that.
Yeah,
took his back. Yep. Daniel 220 walked away with the glory.
Vindicated.
The strap vindicated. But I mean, dude, we're talking about Pato Owen Jones having a rivalry that could go on for a while. This rivalry could go on for 40 years.
Yeah, this straight up might be the super fight at ADCC, 38 or whatever.
Yeah, like whatever it is.
2038.
I was standing there, and Andre was there, and talking to him, and that came up, and he was like, yeah, man, like 3 ADCCs from now, those kids might be here.
Yeah.
I guess true, because it's like, that would be
12
6
years old, like
so
6
18.
years.
Oh, dude,
Totally,
Daniel 220 might qualify for 66 just next year.
Yeah, straight up.
Like, he looks that
Straight
good.
up. Like, don't be surprised. Yeah, like if like next trials, like suddenly Daniel 220 is like in the bronze match or something.
Who's the youngest ever trials winner? It's
goal, right?
No,
it's like Liz Clay or Nikki
Clay.
Ryan.
Oh, yeah,
Liz
Liz
Clay was
Clay. Yeah.
15. So like a 15-year-old has won trials before. Icaro or both of them will be like 14 next cycle, and then cycle after that 16. So it's like
They're right around the corner. Yeah.
16 is like 16-year-olds can win trials. Obviously, we've seen that. So
Shout out Daniel 220 for the win. That was a big one, man. That was fun. Youth Championship. If you guys haven't seen the Youth Championship,
it was a lot of fun.
Youth Championship slapped. The Alpha Miami crew showed out. AOJ had a bunch of guys in there, but that was fun just in seeing the kind of next generation of grapplers. They're so professional. They're so focused, way more focused than the kind of like the guys that we grew up with, I feel like. And so like the future of jiu-jitsu is so bright.
For sure. And shout out Icaro. Icaro's always the man. Even in defeat, Icaro, he came up to me and he was like, sorry, it wasn't my day. I always appreciate the support. I was like, dude, you're 12 years old. You could honestly just go play Xbox if you want.
Yeah, buddy, this isn't going on your record.
But it's like,
You'll get him next time.
So it's incrable what those.
While we're talking about child prodigies, we did have the youngest ADCC medalist ever in silver. Helena Cravar is the youngest ADCC medalist of all time. And big shout out to Anna Carolina for winning the -65. Looked awesome all weekend, I thought.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Tons of good storylines, tons more to break down, I'm sure. This is, good surface level, just kind of the biggest storylines. I'm sure we'll be back next week talking, diving a little deeper and kind of going through some of the matches and stuff like that. A lot of big performances, a lot of fun matches. So
100%.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that's a wrap on this episode 21 of the ADCC Update Show. Obviously, this was kind of the big one. The big show finally went down, and it was great. It was a great time. And thank you all from watching at home. Thank you for watching ADCC. Thank you for watching this show, and we'll see you in the next one.